Varianti, Ascari, Parabolica, Tifosi, all names that mean one thing. We are here in Monza, Italy, and this is going to be a very, very interesting round for the boys here, excuse me, at CSRL, as this is season 8 of the Casual Sim Racers League, and the GC Series is at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. But we got some more words that are going to be ringing in the drivers' ears, and that is rain, mist, wet, sketchy would probably be the best one that these drivers are going to be coming across here tonight. This is our first rain race with the boys here, and I mean, you're going to see drivers taking the lines on the outsides of the corners and really looking to kind of have visibility going into the corners. This is not going to be your typical race here at all, and Monza is tough enough in the dry, especially with the two Varianti chicanes. It is going to be extremely difficult here in the rain. Carl Hamrick joined in the booth by Joe Sullivan. Joe, welcome to Monza. Welcome to the rain. Did you pack your galoshes? Because this one's going to get interesting.
Yes, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, the rain is now on iRacing, and this is their first league race, so it's... And you pretty much have to drive the track backwards because you don't want to be on the line, the normal line, when it's dry. So it's sketchy is one word we'll probably be using a lot tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the curbs that you're normally taking, and you're eating up a lot of the curbs, drifting up off the track and in some of the corners. You don't want to even say the word curb here tonight, as they are going to be slick as you know what, and you need to keep that car on the track. But even on the track, you'll see puddling out there that these drivers are going to want to avoid, because it's going to hydroplane the car. I mean, the rain here in iRacing is very realistic, and it's very difficult to drive in, especially if you're brand new to it. So we'll see how these drivers handle it out here tonight. Looks like we got just over 21 drivers ready to take the green flag here tonight. But before we get to that, as these drivers are out there qualifying right now, we'll bring up the standings so far, as make sure I bring up the correct standings. And we have Craig Jancic on top of the boards after last week, with Frank Pisano in second, Tim Ponzi back in third, actually tied for third with AJ Roderick, Colin Winslow, Alan Elwood. Those are your guys in the top three. And then over in the AM class, we have Brandon Potts at the top, Jason Potts in second. Then we've got Randall Ayers, Jason Potter, and Antonio Avendano Diaz, all tied for third place. Again, the drop races are already mixed in with the points there. That's why you see so many drivers tied with a certain amount of points and things like that. But it's been Craig Jancic at the top, and Brandon Potts now assumes the top spot in the AM coming into this race. And Jancic has looked pretty fast here early on in the practice. Currently, I mean, there's only 4 guys with times in, but he is at the top of the boards again. So looking to repeat, looking to get back out here and really make his stake for the championship.
Yeah, he's seems to have it, you know, this rain and wet track situation kind of, I don't want to say figured out, but you know, at least figured out better than most of these guys right now. So it's gonna be a fun race to watch. I mean, I don't know this track that well. I have raced here like once, but I didn't make it very long until we had to tow her home. But I'm going to be learning a lot from you tonight. I'm going to be asking you a bunch of questions, and I'm sure that these viewers are going to be wanting to know some of the things that these drivers are going to be needing to do here tonight.
You see, looking down right there, you see the rounded corner right there. That is not Parabolica. That is the infield. That is the oval track that is here at Monza, as they used to run a mixture of both. They used to be the oval track and the road track was all part of one gigantic long lap of a track. So it was very, very interesting, and really there was just cones that was in between the oval track and the road track, and he came off of the Parabolica, and he stayed to the he stayed to the sides to get onto the oval track, and then once you came off the oval track, it set you back onto the road track, and vice versa. I mean, it was just mind-boggling what these drivers did way back in the day. But we are only on the road course here tonight. I know over in Core, we've done a couple races on the oval, just the oval, with a variation of cars, the 87 cars, and it is bumpy, it is rough. There's a reason it's not used anymore. It hasn't been touched in a while. These guys are out here on just the road course, thank God, because it's going to be enough for them to deal with as far as the weather. But I mean, the weather right now is showing as just cloudy. It's a 93% chance of rain, but it's only, you know, patchy rain here and there right now. The track is still very wet, and these guys are going to have to deal with that for most of the race. And you see again, you know, rain picking up again, so it's going to be off and on rain, but it's probably going to be majority of the race completely in the wet. And these guys will have two different sets of tires. They'll have dry tires and wet tires, and I will tell you from experience, unless there is a clear dry line that is forming, you do not want to even think about putting on the dry tires. It is just completely ice, and even here in the wet with the wet tires, it's not that easy. You lock it up, and that thing is just going to go shooting straight through the corner. So these guys got to be on their toes all the time. And oh, by the way, you still got to race a bunch of other competitors.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, these guys are going to be wore out after this race for sure. I mean, that's what I was going to say. I think it's going to go very fast for us because there's going to be plenty to talk about between the track and the rain and then the puddles. And then, oh, yeah, those guys are going to be having to fight all that. And then, you know, 10 other drivers around them. So they are going to be, it's going to take forever for them. But for us, we're going to be, it's going to feel like this race just flew by.
Well, it's going to feel like the longest 40 minutes of their lives, at least for the season here. I mean, it's still a 40-minute race, but you see the rain just pelting down right now, and we'll try and take a look down at some of the corners here. And of course, we're jumping on the drone cameras. That doesn't help us out at all. But you see right there, like on the right-hand side of the track there, you see the puddling already forming, and that's heading into the parabolica. That is the racing line heading into the parabolica. You typically want to be over there on that right-hand side to set up a nice open entry and then get to the inside on that curbing. You don't want any of that at this point. You want to stay off of those puddles entering the corner. You want to stay off of those puddles when you get into the corner. So these guys are going to be driving the middle of the track, maybe the outside of the track. But we've seen quite a few on the exit of the parabolica get up on the curbing like you typically do. But these guys touch the curb, just look at the curb, and that back end is swinging around, and there's a fast corner to be swinging that back end around, and it could end your night very quickly and possibly the night of a few of your competitors. But the puddling is certainly for real. Even looking over here at the Lesmo corners, definitely getting some puddling out here as well. So the track very wet and not going to be easy for these drivers, but the drivers got some skills out here. I can't, you know, discount them at all because they put on some great races for us before, and I expect the same here. But even though we're here in Monza, lots of Lamborghinis and Audis making up your pro class. There's a few Ferraris down there in the AM class, but it seems like the Lamborghini and the Audi may be the choice here for the pro guys in the rain.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about too tonight, and see what the difference is. I mean, obviously, I feel like if it's going to be slicker, you want a wider base car, you know, so you can kind of drive that out, or, you know, it would be more under control. And that's one thing that I looked at when I got into the session here, and see what everybody's was doing with their car selection.
Well, we are done with qualifying, and it's about time to take a look at the starting lineup for tonight's race. And in the pro class, it is going to be, is that the right thing here? There we go. In the pro class, starting on the pole is going to be Colin Winslow with a 203.563. Craig Jansen in second, Peter Moeller, Jim Dutton, John Seamer, your top five, Saviani Madrigal, Brandon Powell, Frank Bassano, Dan Morera, and Renan Belima making up your top 10. And then the rest of the pro class is going to be Stefan Price, and the last two that did not put in time are going to be Tim Ponzi and AJ Roderick, starting 12th and 13th. Over in the AM class, pole sitter is going to be Randy Ayers, so looking for another win here tonight with a 204.538. Antonio Diaz starting in second, a half a second off of his time, so need to find some pace here through the AM class drivers. They want to match the 66 here tonight, but Antonio Avendano Diaz in second, Christian Torres, Jason Potts, Jim Herrick, Brandon Potts, Brian Farron, and Jay Little make up your 8-car AM class field for tonight's race here at Monza. We'll head down to the track as these drivers are ready to get going here. The wipers are on, and it's something, again, it's just new, it's fresh. You know, we haven't seen it before, and it's fun for us up here in the booth, and it's going to be one of those races where I'm glad to be up here. I'm nice and comfy. It's not raining inside the booth here. I'm nice and dry, and I don't have to worry about a thing. I can just watch these drivers try and wrangle these cars around this track.
Yeah, we can sit up here and watch and maybe try to learn something and see what to do or what not to do as we watch these guys here tonight and see how they tackle this. And I'm with you. As much as I want to learn, I'm far away from trying to do anything in the rain right now. So yeah, I gotta try to figure out when it's sunny and 80, not 69 and raining.
Well, I think Colin Winslow may have the car livery on that is probably best for tonight here, and that is Loctite. I think he wants that car Loctite to the track for sure. But already a few guys going off track and mixing up here a little bit just on this base lap, and it's not surprising. I've seen it in other races as well. You'll see right now, I mean, you see a little bit of the spray from these drivers going up, and this is just under basic. This is just under 45, 50 miles an hour. Once these drivers get up to speed, the spray that comes off the back of the cars is, there's no visibility. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's very tough to see. And you'll see guys, you know, kind of staggering back and forth to just try and get some kind of visibility, especially when it comes to the braking zones. But we are ready to go.
Jump on board here with somebody on their cockpit and see how, like, you cannot see anything when these cars get going here. I mean, the rain is just massive.
You see it, I mean, just looking at it from reverse here, I mean, you can barely see the headlights. That's about it. But as we are green heading down into turn number 1, the first chicane, you already see a little bit of wobble from some of the drivers. But Winslow going to take it in here to turn number 1 through Prima Varianti, the first chicane. And looks like everybody making it through, just kind of tiptoeing through for the first time around Curva Biaso for the first time. And again, you want to get to that inside. You're so used to getting to the inside, but you cannot tonight. You got to stay away from those puddles. Now heading down into second Varianti here, the second chicane, as these drivers getting woed up for the first time after feeling a little bit of speed, and see if anybody has any issues going through here. Looks pretty clean so far. As we get the track map up here for everybody. And we did have a crash coming through there. We'll take a look back here in a second and take a look at that as the drivers make their way through the first and second Lesmo corners before they head down the long backstretch here, if you want to call it. That's heading down into Ascari.
Oh, yep, there it was.
Very high speed here, and this track is nicknamed the Temple of Speed for a reason. You are on the loud pedal for a lot of the time here, and you see Ascari as Craig Jancic taking a little trip through the gravel pit. He's going to keep that car going and get it back on track, but he's going to lose several positions here as he gets it back going. And that's how quickly it can slip away. But we'll head down for the first time into the Parabolica. See the guys right in the middle of the track. They want to stay to the left or the right there, entering or getting into the Parabolica. But we will complete our first lap here, and it is Colin Winslow at the point here. But let's take a look back and see what happened there on lap number 1. And this is right at the beginning of the race here. A little bit of mix up here for Stefan Price at the back of the pack. And I don't see anything there. Sometimes our SDK just, you know, if somebody's going too slow, they think they crashed. But this is where we're going to see the first incident here as Brian Farron. Oh, that is not Brian Farron. That is Brandon Potts, your M-Class leader. We'll take a look at it one more time in slow-mo, and looks like he may have got over there, caught the grass. Trying to get a better view, but I mean, there's so much mist going on up through here. But yeah, it looks like caught the grass, or maybe a little puddle under braking, and hard impact in that with that Ferrari. into the inside wall and then comes across, collects Brian Farron, that rips off the front bumper there for the 25. So your points leader, your winner last week, has got a lot of ground to make up here now tonight.
Oof.
And it looks like he is he's back on track, but Brian Farron in the pits, possibly out of the race. And I believe this is still, yeah, you see right there catching the grass there a little bit. Antonio Avendano Diaz had a bit of an incident here too, as at least the SDK is saying that he had an incident going into Parabolica. And again,
yeah,
you don't want to get out there. You don't want to get on that curbing. You see, he gets out in the curbing, and it is just dirt tracking it all the way around the corner. Good job locking it up, and he'll get it back on track safely.
Well, if that's what's, you know, that's the worst that's going to happen, that's what you want right there, you know. Obviously, you don't want to make that mistake, but no car damage, no other issues. Nobody else involved.
This is Jim Dutton. Locking up, you see it locking up, and the car just would not slow down. It's going to take it up and on to the sausage curves there. And it looks like he's not the only one, as John Seamer right behind him takes to the little bit of an exit there as well. So we'll bring it back live now, as all that happened in the first couple of laps, but another situation here.
Oh, Pisano.
As we'll take a look at it here. Greg Jancic and then yeah, Pisano went off track as well. We'll take a look at that here in a second.
Oh, complete
from
stop.
Behind there. And then here is
Lewis under braking.
Frank Pisano.
Oh, my goodness.
Not sure what happened there. I mean, that was very abrupt. So maybe that was just a quick tag of the brakes, and the car did not like it. Shot straight to the left, but again, these are the conditions that these drivers are under here tonight. It's not going to be easy. It's not for the faint of heart, but back live now, and it is Colin Winslow at the front, Peter Moeller in second, Jim Dutton, Craig Jancic. Your top 5 is going to be Siviani Mondragon for the Pro class. Over in the AM class, it is going back and forth here, as Jim Herrick has taken the lead. Not sure what happened to Randy Ayers.
Oh, Randy he just went off track.
And there it is, catching a little late, and big old spin as he caught the grass, shot across, caught the other grass, and has to get it back going again. And it goes to show you, even the guys with skill here. I mean, Randy was the clear favorite here in the AM class, and now he's got a lot of ground to make up. He gets back on the track, but all the way back in 6th place in the AM, and he's got a lot of ground to make up. But Jim Herrick is the one that will gladly inherit the lead here tonight. The man behind 40 Racewear. I want to thank them for coming on board, helping out these boys over here at CSRL with some sponsorship. And certainly check them out at 40racewear.com. But he will gladly inherit this lead in the AM class. 2nd place is Christian Ortiz Torres, and Antonio Avendano Diaz, Jay Little, and Jason Potts rounding out your top 5 in the AM class. But I mean, we've had about, it feels like 30 different incidents, and we're only 6.5 minutes into this race.
Yeah, you know, just talking about Jim Herrick there, if anybody was on the receiving end of some good fortune, I think he's probably well overdue, as some of the mishaps that he's been involved with over this season and even going into the last season of our broadcast. But he is definitely due for some good luck here tonight. And hopefully he can capitalize on that.
Race to go at Watkins Glen. I mean, having the pole there at Watkins Glen, and not even making it through turn 1 with the lead. So
yeah, not even be able to get a chance to get that race going. I mean, turn 1, and he was fast in practice, got the pole, and then it just rips your heart out to not even get a lap in or something, But the racing gods are shining on him today. So far, we'll see if the sun can come out. And
so just to give you all an idea of what it's like to take the green flag here, we'll take a look at what it's like on board here with John Seamer. If I can grab the right camera here. Let's try that one more time here, as these drivers take the green flag, and you see.
Yeah. This, I mean, absolutely your muscle memory, and you're trying to find something that you can use on the track as your braking point. I mean, you can see some brake lights there, but it's, I mean, you have to tiptoe through here. Just, whoa. As Siviano just barrels through there.
We'll take a look on board from Jim Dutton, who was on the outside here, and we had a little bit of visibility. You see the guy just trying to peek out a little bit. You don't want to go too far to the left there because you don't want to get into those standing water right there. But you want to get some kind of visibility, and even this was kind of a little bit further up in the running order here. But man, it's just not easy at all at the start of this race. Take a look from Brian Farron here at the beginning, a little bit further in the pack, a little bit more cars and a little bit more spray and a lot of bit less visibility. And it's just unbelievable. And your race can be erased and like so fast here because you can't see that far in front of you. So even if something happens, 3 cars in front of the car you're in, it happens so fast, and your race could be gone with just on the pace lap or coming into turn 1. There's absolutely. The visibility is horrendous. Well, it's the thing. I mean, you could be a lot faster than the guy in front of you, but where do you make your move if you can't see that car? Like, I'm looking at my relative, I'm gaining on him, but where is he? All I see is a white mist. But
and you don't go feeling around because then you're getting into somebody, or you miss your braking spot, or you turn in depending on where you're at on the track, and it's just adds a whole another element to this track here tonight.
Well, it even goes with that guy that is leading. You don't want to be mirror driving too much because you push just a little bit too hard out of one of these corners, and you don't have to worry about the lead. You'll be looking backwards at the rest of the field coming by you.
Yeah, you can watch the field coming at you through your windshield, not your rearview mirror.
As it stands, Jim Herrick is your leader here in the pro class. He's got AJ Roderick behind him, but that is not for position. The next car for position is Christian Ortiz-Torres, 3 cars back and 7.25 seconds behind him. So big lead for Jim Herrick in the AM class. Over in the pro class, a little bit of the same, and running his fastest lap of the race, that last lap there. Colin Winslow has got a 7.5 second lead over the rest of the pack. So loving life right now is the 19, but he's going to be coming up on traffic in not too long a time here, as we're about 11 minutes into this race. So a quarter of the race already done. All these drivers are going to have to make their scheduled pit stop for sure, but it's going to be tough to decide when you want to come in. You don't necessarily need to take tires here. Even if it was a dry race, you're probably not taking tires, but these wet tires will last a little bit longer unless you're getting really crazy with them or getting off track, or if the track was drying and you're on the dry line, that's where you're going to really wear them out. But if there's rain on the track here, you're not going to wear them down as much as long as you're keeping that car under control. So I'm sure we'll see a lot of splash and goes from the drivers here tonight. But Ray Jancic trying to make his way back up there after the early incident. He is still right behind Jim Dutton, but that is your top 3 here for the pro class.
So how much of the rain have you done so far?
I've done the 12 hours of Sebring about not even a month ago, a couple weeks ago. Excuse me, and that one had a little bit of dry, a little bit of rain, a little bit of dry again, and then a little bit of rain again. So you got a taste of everything. You got a taste of the track being nice and fresh, and then you get the rain that immediately makes you come into the pits and get wet tires, and then you get the feeling of those tires not handling the track as well because the track is drying off. You have to come in and get those dry tires, but then as soon as the rain comes in again, you're kind of looking at the weather and trying to figure out when that rain is actually going to hit. I mean, you're looking at if you're one of the spotters and outside the car, obviously you're trying to figure out when this guy's stint is going to be done, when he's going to be running out of fuel, but also taking a look at that radar. Do you want to come in a lap or 2 early and put on those dry or wet tires, or do you want to try and stretch that thing out an extra lap because the weather is coming? Because you certainly don't want to come in and take a fresh set of dry tires and all of a sudden a lap later it starts raining and you're right back in the pits again.
Yeah, so what other what kind of adjustments do you may obviously, you don't want to be running in the fast line, because that's where all the rubber is, and then when water gets on the rubber, it's slick as snot. But are you just pretty much trying to run the total opposite line, or just feel what the track is giving you?
Yeah, I mean, every corner is different. There'll be some corners where you're taking, roughly the driving line. There'll be others where you're completely on the outside of the track, and that feels like it's better right there. But really, it's keeping that car under control, keeping it tiptoeing. If you're off pace by a little bit, it is what it is. I mean, it's all about keeping that car on track, keeping it pointed the correct way, and you'll beat more competitors than not by doing that. But I mean, there's adjustments you can make in the car. Obviously, you can crank up the traction control, which is absolutely a must if you're allowed to do so. These guys in the fixed class here, I don't think they're allowed to touch the traction control, so they're kind of at the whim of whatever it is. And a big spin there by Dutton is going to hand second place back to Craig Jancic. But yeah, I mean, traction control in an open race, you certainly want to mess with that and crank it up as far as you can, mainly just to get that traction coming out of the corners. And then the brake bias, I've heard it both ways. It really depends on your driving style. You can crank it a lot more forward if you you don't want to brake and feel that back end getting loose. But more often than not, it seems like guys are putting the brake bias towards the back tires. So that way, if you're braking and you get a little bit loose, you can still make that corner without shoving the nose all the way through.
And I know, like, you want to get your tires to a certain temperature. With the rain and like cooler temperatures like we have here, will the tire heat build up like you want it to? Like,
it does. It does. I mean, those first couple laps, you can feel like you're driving on cold tires. You do want to get those tires up to, not necessarily up to temperature per se, but because you can't, if you're out there, you can't drive on the dry line. It's going to wear out those tires. It's going to heat them up, and it's going to overheat the tires, and then you're going to have the exact opposite. You're not going to have any grip. You need to keep the tires cool, but also bring them up to pressure is the main thing.
And as far as pace difference, is there like a number that you could say?
No, I mean, it's per track. I mean, it varies obviously depending on the size of the track, but you just, again, once it starts raining, really it's all about feel. I mean, it's as aggressive as you want to be. I mean, you got to be extremely safe. You got to keep that car on track. That is number one, number two, number three priority. And then if there's some corners that you feel like you can push a little bit, maybe you get a little bit more out of it. Maybe you search around and try and find some different lines to see if that feels a little bit better. And if you gain time, you gain time. And some guys just right off the bat feel comfortable in the rain and they feel okay with it. Other guys, it's a foreign object, and it's really tough to try and figure out what to do. So it's track dependent, it's driver dependent, and it's hold on tight.
I'll tell you, it's very foreign to me. I'm not used to racing with the water on the ground or in those kind of conditions. So I've done it a couple times on the official side, and it was tough to be. And I think it was at Sebring, yeah. So, which is a track that one of the road courses that I'm familiar with. So even being familiar with it and then trying to learn a different line and then how it even works. When iRacing got rain, it was pretty early on in that. So just trying to figure out how it even felt and everything. And I mean, to me, it was. I mean, I was in the wrong spot, but it was trying to get some more time in and just see what it felt like. So, but it was definitely extremely foreign.
Well, it's kind of funny. For the longest time, we talked about the grass in iRacing is just way too slick, and they need to give it a little bit more grip. It's not that slick in real life, and we finally did that and finally made it a little bit more realistic on the grass. And there's times when you're driving in the rain that the grass actually feels like it has more grip than the track. So I mean, it's kind of gone now the complete opposite way. But watching a little battle here. This is not for position, but this is the other closest battle on the track, literally, as Renan de Lima gets into the back of Jim Herrick there. going into the second Varianti chicane, as we are getting close to the halfway point already. 18 minutes into this race, Winslow leads it by 7.5 seconds over Jancic. Over in the AM class, the lead is getting smaller. It was out to 7.5 seconds, but Jim Herrick is slowly fading back here. It is down to 2.3 seconds to Antonio Avendano Diaz, who has reeled these guys in, and he has them in his sights. Well, maybe not in his sights, you probably can't see him, but the white mist that is in front of him involves
there's something
the leader.
up there.
Yeah.
After spinning and being able to not get into anybody or anything on the track, he's got himself back up there 2 seconds behind our M-class leader. And Jim's not one to, really just let rain and go around him, because he wants to keep somebody in between him here. And
I think it's not just that, it's the visibility. He wants to keep that visibility. And you'll probably see guys blocking even more in the rain than you see in the dry, just to keep that visibility in front of you, so you can see where you need to brake and everything like that, and really just how to drive. But it's amazing when it comes to the rain, because there's so many tracks. Obviously, you're a little bit newer here to the road course portion of it, but so many tracks out there that you know the track inside and out. You know exactly what you got to do. You know which way the corners go. It's not a fresh track to you. But then the rain comes in, and it is like a brand new track. Sure, you may still know the layout of the track and which way you need to turn, but you're relearning the entire track all over again and where you need to drive. And it is not what your muscle memory has in store. It is not what you think you need to do by going, from the outside and cutting into the inside of the corners. For a lot of them, you're swinging to the outside for some of the corners, and you're taking the outside line. So it's a completely new learning process. And for some of these drivers, they're having to do that tonight. This could be their first rain race in league here, and we are halfway through already, and it is still Colin Winslow at the front, as is Jim Herrick with the lead here in the AM class, getting now under 2 seconds. Getting close to the pit stops as well. We'll see if anybody decides to come in this time by. I already had a few guys in the pits. Probably about, looks like
showing Mr.
half the drivers.
Pits. I'm wondering what happened here. I didn't see anything. It says he went off track, but it doesn't show a crash. But he was up there in the top 5, and he's towed to the pits.
Yeah, right here, already off track, trying to find out, because he went off track a couple times here, it seems. And that's the start of it right
Frank
there.
Exactly what happened to Frank. And
Big,
oh my goodness.
Big wreck right there for Mr. Dunn. And yeah, went off track and on track a couple times. And
that's why there were so many on track and off tracks.
As it gets it off the track there, and he's kind of beached right there, and that's where he decides to just go ahead and tow it back into pit lane. So Mark right there after a really good start for the 83.
Here comes
Antonio Avendano Diaz gives up second place in the AM, and he's going to bring it in. So that's going to move Christian Ortiz Torres up to second place. But Jim Herrick continues on, and now he doesn't have a mirror full of Renan de Lima anymore. Renan de Lima has made the pass. We'll show you the pass again, not for position, but around Curva Biasi, or actually no, this is around the Parabolica. Finally gets a good run on the 40. Gets to the inside and will make the pass. So we'll see how long Jim decides to stay out there behind the spray of the 82, or if he decides to bring it in on the next lap to try and stay ahead of Diaz here on the short pit.
Breaking into turn 1 here has been it's been sketchy for these guys.
It's not a great turn to break into even on the dry. So. Yeah, I'm not surprised that it's being a little finicky here for the boys in the rain, but
it's an interesting strategy here from Antonio, because he just caught these guys. But I wonder if he said, hey, might as well I caught him, so let me come in and get my fuel now, so that way he wasn't behind him for several laps, just wasting time, and for not having that visibility, or being able to, you know, keep hitting his hot laps there that he was gaining on Jim there. So I wonder if that was into his thought process there.
Oh yeah, I mean that's absolutely.
Because really, like you said, these tires last so much longer, so these guys probably won't be taking tires unless for some reason they think they need to. So you could really pit whenever you wanted to.
Yeah, that's absolutely the benefit of taking the short pit. You come in there, and as long as you come out there in clean air, if you were catching up to those guys before the pit stop, you can come back out there, run those same laps, and you know, essentially you'll pass them once they make their pit stop, and you don't have to worry about trying to do it on track. So that's why you'll see guys come in a little bit earlier if they're looking to catch up and make a pass. They'll come in and take the short pit. But you'll see it the other way around too. You'll see the guys in the front come in first to try and defend against the short pit. So we'll see how it works out here for Antonio if he can make the pass here on the pit cycle.
Speaking of guys coming to the front, Craig Jancic is catching our leader.
Yeah, little by little chipping away, and just the last lap by there was about a half a second faster. We'll take a look here at Jancic and try and bring up the time delta over the last few laps. It doesn't evade me here.
See, Craig does have the fastest time of the race so far. Yeah, by half a second over Winslow. And he's still hitting that pace. He's 12 laps in and he's still around his fastest lap.
Is not coming up here. I'm trying to bring up the right one here. He's not coming up at the moment, but he again was out there about 7.5 seconds behind your leader here, Winslow, and is down now under 6 seconds. So definitely on the lap pedal is the 3, trying to catch your leader, the 19 of Winslow. But I mean, he's got him in his sights. You know, he can see his spray in front. But that's about it at this point. He's still got a lot of time to reel in, but he's got some time to do it as well. 25 minutes now into the race. These guys still have to make their pit stop. The top 8 drivers in line that still have to make their pit stop. That includes first and second place in the AM class. So we'll see how this all plays out. Roderick running at the fastest lap of the race that last time by right there with a 2:02.13. Actually ties Craig Jancic for the fastest lap of the race.
Almost, I got a thing pulled up here on my screen. Almost at least, let's see, about half the field there just hit their fastest lap of the race. So pace is picking up here. Like, that's 12 laps. So does that sound right, or is that common? Like, to me that seems weird, but I don't know.
Well, it could just be not necessarily the track rubbering in, but you know, kind of a line developing here for the wet, and you know, the puddles kind of blowing off the track a little bit for where these guys are now doing their driving lines, and just for the simple fact of everybody maybe getting a little bit more accustomed to the rain and getting a little bit more not greedy, but a little bit more adventurous on
like
taking their
rains and you're going down the interstate, and like as it dries up, you know, those where everybody drives down the highway there, it gets dry there, and like that can, I guess, develop on the racetrack too. So everybody has that line because that would be where the heat is and everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's, you know, or you see like, you know, where people typically drive, it's kind of worn down, and that's where the water kind of sets. So if you wanted to drive kind of offline, if you will, on the highway, and it'll be a lot of times a little bit smoother, as that line isn't used as much by people driving on there. But Jancic is going to come into the pits this time by, so we'll see how the short pit works for him. Colin Winslow still out there heading into the first chicane right now. Jim Herrick has got the lead. He has yet to pit over there in the AM class. And it looks like he's the last one to
first one of the top 10 here. Well, Antonio did. He did a couple laps ago. That's like a super short pit that he did, but like we said, we'll see if it pays off for him with the visibility issue that he was about to run into, and see if he can't get him passed on pit road. Hope it's Jim Herrick is on pit road. Looks like it's starting.
So your leader here in the AM class pulls off, and we'll see now where Antonio Avendano Diaz is going to come through as he is coming down into the Parabolica. So how quick can Jim Herrick get in and out of the pits? As he is now pulling out of the pits. But Diaz coming through and finishing the Parabolica. Going to be really close here on the exits. Right there comes your leader, the 40 of Herrick. Right there is Antonio Avendano Diaz. So we've got a battle here for the lead in the M class. Don't get the entry wrong for Diaz, and he does.
Oh, he does.
As he takes a shortcut, he's going to get a slowdown, so he's going to have to give that position back. But sometimes that's a better move. I mean, if you're going to miss it, just go ahead and blow through it. Take the slowdown, but at least you put a little fear in your competitor. Like, hey, just want to let you know I'm right here.
Yeah, I'm right here, and we're gonna be sending it. So you better be ready.
Overall leader Colin Winslow now in pit lane. As he surrenders over first place, we'll see if Peter Muller, who's now in second, comes in this time by, as well as Peter Muller, AJ Roderick, Siviani Madrigal have yet to come into the pits, as has Renan de Lima and Dan Herrera. Those are your final guys to make a pit stop here. And here comes Peter Muller this time by, and AJ Roderick following suit right behind. Siviani Madrigal is going to do the same here. So looks like the final round of pit stops are coming through here. We'll see if Renan de Lima comes in. He indeed will. And then one final one, Dan Herrera just coming down into the Parabolic. I'm sure he will end up making that turn into pit lane as well. But this is your battle for the lead, I believe. No, that is not. Sorry, that is the 18th place there.
Greg he cut it in half though.
That is Jim Dutton there right behind your leader. It was first and second at one point in the race before Dutton had his issue. But yeah, you see Jancic right there, not too far behind. 2.7 seconds is the distance between first and second. Again, at one point it was at the 7.5. But your points leader here, the 3 of Jancic, is reeling in Winslow lap after lap here. 30 minutes into this race, 10 minutes to go. It's about time to crank these boys up and give everybody out there a little love to hear it. sights and sounds here, the quick sights and sounds of the CSRL GT3 Series, and taking a look at the man on the move that we had so quietly. I mean, you've seen it in the beginning of the race, getting sideways, getting a big incident there with Brian Farron going into the second Variante. What a comeback for the 25 of Brandon Potts. Was up to second place, had to slow down, had to give position back to Abandano Diaz, but he is right there trying to set it in, and these guys are certainly not out of it just yet. And right behind is Jason Potts. So a big slide there is going to keep Potts in the mix. I mean, you take a look at the top 5, second, third, fourth, and fifth right there on screen as Christian Ortiz Torres right there with them. We've got a heck of a battle here inside the top 5 of the AM class. And don't look now, Craig Jancic is on the heels of your leader, Colin Winslow. We need picture-in-picture again, Joe. We need it.
Yes, we do.
We need one for the AM, one for the Pro here, as this thing is coming down to the end. Less than 5 minutes to go here in Monza.
And Craig's got it to under a second and a half. He's almost to a second on him. He's probably going to have 3 more laps, maybe, with the time here. Oh, maybe
the lap times there gained 1.2 seconds just on that lap right there, and another 1.2 would put him in the lead, so he is right there on the back of Winslow. How much was Winslow saving? I mean, just listen to these guys and watch them go through Ascari, the big sweep in S-turn. They were tiptoeing wasn't even the word. I mean, it was just so gingerly going through the corner there, as any little bit of touch of the throttle and that back end was trying to get loose. So it is just sketchy lap after lap as Winslow pulls out here just a little bit now on Jancic, and maybe feeling the pressure a little bit and needing to turn up the heat as he tries to stretch out his lead once again. But I don't think Jancic is going to go anywhere anytime soon. But the real battle is back over here. You see right there the blue car, that is Abandano Diaz in second place. The big car right here, the big Ferrari, is Brandon Potts. Right behind him is Jason Potts. Right behind him is Christian Ortiz Torres. They're all right there on your screen. And then, you know, just because right now we have even Dan Herrera in the mix there, not for position. He is in that 7th place in the Pro class, but we've got a huge heated battle here, and I can't see who's going to win because I'm not sure these guys can either. But wow,
well, that's what I was going to say. Race. I said take something away from my buddy Darrell Waltrip. You know, catching him is one thing, but then you got to pass him. And if Craig gets, I mean, once he gets up even behind him and gets in that mist, you know, what's it going to be like for him? So that's going to be interesting to see, because I mean, even for these guys right here, like once you get to them, then you got to figure out how to get around them and then get through the rain and all that, because we still got a pretty good mist coming down.
There's still pretty heavy rain here in Italy as these guys are finishing up round number 4 here of the Season 8 of CSRL's GT3 Series. Next week, as we take a look at the schedule, we're going to have the wrong schedule, of course, but next week on the schedule is going to be the circuit day, 24 hours of Le Mans. So another very, very well-known circuit there, as a lot of long straightaways there, and hopefully these guys can let it rip and not have to deal with the rain next week, as should see some very high speeds and should be a lot of good braking opportunities and passing opportunities at Le Mans next week. And that'll complete the first half of the schedule already, as that'll be race number 5 of 10 before we head to Sebring, Red Bull Ring, Mount Panorama, Nürburgring, and then finish it off at Suzuka. But we've got a minute and a half to finish it off here at Monza, and I believe we are, well, I'd say we're on the white flag, but if he's waving the white flag, it's white enough here, I can't see, so I apologize to Barney, but no, we are still 2 laps to go here, and we take a look back here at the battle for the overall win. It's getting a little sunnier out here, so the sun trying to break through and shine down. It's a little bit too late to drive the track, but Jancic is still right there, about 1.5 seconds, 1.25 seconds behind your leader Winslow, as we should be getting the white flag this time by. And big slide, overall leader in into the wall on 2 laps to go. He'll be able to get it turned back around.
Get going.
And should be able to hang on to 2nd place as long as that thing is drivable. That is hard impact. And this one, that thing, it does look like it's out. It's crabbing a little bit, but I mean, it may be worth just trying to limp this car around for another lap, as Jancic is going to come around. A gift for the number 3 here. Gonna see, should be the white flag this time by. I don't see why it wouldn't be. I didn't see him waving there, but I mean, it's white. It's mist. Can't really see. So it should be the white flag this time by, as Greg Jancic he's got 1 more lap to get this thing done, and what a comeback here for the 3. We'll take a look over here. Jim Herrick is on his way, as well as he's got 2 seconds ahead of Diaz. Trying to look, I don't see anything that we did have a situation here for Brandon Potts. Big slide there through Ascari, and kind of similar, did save it here, but he lost a bunch of ground and lost a couple spots, as I think that was actually earlier. Yeah, because that's when he lost a spot there. So I'm not sure why he lost another spot there to Jason.
Yeah, Jason Potts got around him.
Right here. Got to the inside of Diaz and got together, and that's how Potts got around him. But over here again to Jim Herrick, as he is going to come by and take the white flag. 1 more lap to go, but he's only got 1.5 seconds in between him and Diaz. Not exactly over just yet, as Diaz sends it through the corner again.
Oh no!
Back on the track and gives Jim a little scare once again.
Oh my goodness.
But that slowdown is certainly going to hurt his chances of winning this thing here tonight. Question is it enough for Jason Potts to sneak up into 2nd? Here comes the 57, and not too far behind him is the 25 of Brandon Potts. His top 3, the podium not decided here at Monza just yet. And I mean, really, Jim Herrick is not that far up ahead. 1 little mistake, and this thing is put on its head.
Oh boy, we gotta follow this out to the end, because this is gonna be exciting as we get through here.
Craig Jancic is your winner here in the pro class, as he does so pretty comfortably after the smooth little spin there from Winslow on the last lap. Or 2 laps to go, I should say. So Winslow will bring it home in 2nd place. He will hold on with that hurt vehicle. Peter Moeller going to come home in 3rd place and wrap up your pro podium. AJ Roderick, a good drive, as he was up 16 spots from the start to move himself up into 4th place. Xavier Madrigal going to come home in 5th place, right at the top 5. But this top 5 not decided yet. Lead down to 1.3, but they're heading down in the Parabolica 1 last time. Does Potts have anything? Well, does either Potts have anything for Diaz here, as Herrick is going to get into the Parabolica for the last time.
Oh, he peaked.
Diaz gets it a little bit wide there, keeps it on the track though. Jason Potts right there, can't get enough drive off, so these guys will stay in line. It'll be Herrick, Diaz, Potts, and then Torres is going to round out your top 5, but the top 4 here in the M class separated by 2.2 seconds after 40 minutes in a rain-filled Monza. What a finish.
What a finish for Jim. I mean, to be able to hang on to that and to be, I'm sure, scared to death twice there by Diaz sliding through. Just, I mean, you're just trying to get at home, and you got to deal with situations like that. It's just nerve-wracking as all get out, I'm sure, as we'll hear from his view of it. But wow, probably some good fortune for Jim.
Yeah, the exact opposite end of the spectrum here for the 66 of Randy Ayers had the pole and could possibly have been the fastest car out here on the track in the AM class, but he's going to have to settle for a 6th place here. So we'll work on
probably the first time
top 3 in here.
We're not going to talk to him after a race.
Yeah, I think so.
He broke the streak. Rain broke the streak for him.
That's all it is. That's what these competitors needed. They needed a little bit of rain here to catch up to him. But we'll bring in our top 3 in both classes here momentarily, but before we do, we'll take a rundown of the race results here for tonight, not the qualifying results. The race results looks like they're still not up yet, so we'll keep on working on bringing our top 3 in here. And Joe, your first rain race, your first one that you got the broadcast here. What did you think? I mean, I don't think you're disappointed at all.
No, not at all. Like at the beginning, to me that flew by even faster than normal. I mean, there was so much to talk about, so much to learn, so many questions to ask, and the action that these guys put on here tonight. That finish was exciting to watch. I mean, one little mistake and something bad could have happened there, you know, but it was a good finish there, close finish, and like you said, 40 minutes, and it came down to under a second for those guys to try to get on the podium. And unfortunate for Colin. I mean, man, that's gotta. I know he's still gonna come away with a second, but man, just led the whole thing, and then to lose it like that. But that's all it takes is one little bitty mistake, and
that's what happens when, I mean, he seemed like he had the pace all race to easily be able to walk away and get that thing done, but unfortunately his pace kind of slowed down a little bit, maybe just a little bit too too lackadaisical on the pace, and allowed Jancic to run him back down. But we'll find out here in the interviews, as looks like we got all 6 in here now. So we'll start off with our M class here tonight, and we'll bring in Jason Potts here, as it was certainly a pretty epic finish for these boys here. And trying to get the cameras working here. Okay, there we go. So first one we'll bring in here tonight is driver of the 57 here, Jason Potts. And Jason, first of all, welcome back to the booth. A 3rd place finish here tonight. Certainly not easy, certainly not under the best conditions here at Monza, but what an epic battle between the top 5 there at the end of the AM class. Jason, do you have a copy?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you say my name. Okay. But yeah, it was. Man, that wasn't fun, though. Man, that was crazy. And I crashed on the dang pace lap, the formation lap. I crashed and ended up starting in the pits.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do remember seeing you come out of the pits.
We forgot to go back and look at that. Yep. We seen it, but we didn't go back and see what had happened. And we seen that
I slipped on the curb. I crashed all by myself.
And it's and I think I even mentioned to Joe, man, that the formation lap isn't as easy here, because you're going around a little bit slower and think you can just do whatever you want, and there's still enough power in those cars that it'll slip right out on you. But I mean, both you had to come back here from the back. Brandon Potts had his issues on the I believe it was the first lap or the second lap, and he had a fight from the back. But you guys, along with Christian Ortiz Torres and Antonio Avendano Diaz, all find yourself right there together at the end, and not too far behind your leader, Jim Herrick. Talk me through the last couple of laps. I mean, it's bad enough trying to race all these guys on dry conditions where you can actually see. How tough was it out there to try and figure out where to set up a pass, if you can set up a pass, if you're close enough? I mean, just what's going through your head?
Oh, the spray is miserable. You're almost thinking to yourself, drop back a little bit so that you can give yourself some vision. And Brandon ended up losing the car in the second chicane, and that's how I ended up getting on the podium. Although I wasn't going to pass him. I wasn't passing nobody that didn't give it up himself.
You just went by and said thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I'm glad that's over.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And we said at the beginning, it's probably going to be the longest 40 minutes of some of you guys' lives out there. But
Indeed.
You get it home. You get it home, regardless if you started from the pits or not. I mean, you get it home on the podium. I mean, you got to feel good about that.
I'm excited about that. Staying close in the points race.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, that should tie you up.
Yeah, certainly good night out here for you. Next week, hopefully it's dry for you guys as you head over to Le Mans. Do you have some experience there at Le Mans? Is it going to be a fresh track for you, and you're going to find some speed there?
Yeah, I like that track. To me, it's fun, and hopefully there's no rain, and then we can have a good race.
Well, you'll go from the Temple of Speed to another one that is just some all-out brawling speed over there, and plenty of passing opportunities there. I don't think you have to worry about the lack of passing there at Le Mans. But
Yeah,
congratulations on your third place here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to before we let you go?
To the rain. Shout out to the rain.
Well, it certainly kept you on your toes here tonight for sure. But I mean, I guess you can't complain too much. You got a podium. I mean,
I will take the podium and run with it.
All right, well, we'll let you go celebrate the podium. We'll see you next week at Le Mans. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to you again.
Certainly, absolutely. I think you should just pencil me in as one of your weekly podium interviews.
All right, well,
thanks, guys.
We'll do that. No jinx, but yeah. All right, we'll do it.
Right. All right, later, guys.
See ya.
That is third place here in the AM class. Driver of the 57, Jason Potts. Second place is going to be Antonio Avendano Diaz. And Joe, why don't you go ahead and take our second place finisher here in the AM class?
Hey there, Antonio. You got a copy?
Yeah, copy.
Hey, so we were watching you most of the race because you were involved in a lot of battles there, and talk me through what was so tough getting into that first turn there. See, we've seen you a couple times just not get it woe down enough and get right through there.
I don't know what's going on with my braking, but I couldn't keep it braking hard enough or not too soft enough to keep locking up the rears, and the wash, the how you call that, the spray of the cars.
Oh yeah, the spray. Yep.
I couldn't tell what was my braking point because I was just going flying to the corner. Not only the first corner, also the other chicane. I had trouble too. The whole race was.
It seemed like a lot of guys had trouble getting into that first turn there and as long as with you as well, but multiple other guys had troubles as soon as they would get into the braking zone. Either the rear end would want to come around, or in like your case, it just wouldn't get woed up enough and either lock them up and slide, or what the case may be with this with these rain conditions here tonight. And like I said, the visibility was just not there. I mean, it's just so tough once you get out behind somebody.
Yeah, I tried my best to keep it clean too. I let by sometimes people because I knew I made a mistake.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you were clearly fast because you got up to Jim there and got to him. I think
couple times,
and then you had this multiple times. You drove up to him and you would at that as soon as you got to him, you would have your problem in getting to that first chicane. So it just you had speed, just couldn't quite get that first turn down. And I think if you could have capitalized that, you could have had something there for Jim at the end.
Exactly. He had a good pace too. I'm not gonna take it. I was great, but I'm making a lot of mistakes. Maybe if I keep it more clean and be better on turning and whatever.
Yeah.
I think I seen Jim holding the water bottle out there backwards, trying to get a little extra spray out there.
Oh my God! I'm sweating right now. That was intense, but I tried my best to get it, but. I even tried overcutting him because I was behind.
That's what we brought up too in the broadcast. How early you pit because you were catching him there, and we thought maybe you were going to pit as soon as you got to them to not be behind that mist, and get out and get some clean laps in, and not have to be behind somebody and try to pass him on the track or pass him in the pits, and not have to worry about getting him on the track.
I noticed I was faster than the pro class driver. I don't know his name right now. It was another Audi, I think. But the wash of the weather condition and everything, it slowed me so much and it made me make mistakes because I'm trying to find another way to pass him, but it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
But
all right. Anybody want to give a shout out to you on that 87 here tonight?
Brandon and Jason and the league that I'm in, Midwest Esports, and Wheelchair Channel, Discord. That's it. Myself.
All right, well, congrats on the second, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. Thank you, and good night.
That is your second place finisher here in the M class, the 87 of Antonio Avendano Diaz. First place in the M class is one that he's probably been waiting on here, and certainly well deserved. The 40 of Jim Herrick. Jim, another good race here. It's maybe a little payback after Watkins Glen. You get your win here. Was not easy, and it looked like you had that thing under control. You're out there about 7.5 seconds at one point, but man, did these guys make it interesting in the last, 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, yeah, I had to dial it back a little bit at the end because as the car got lighter, it didn't want to brake as well, and I was just being super cautious and sort of paying attention to my relatives and just trying to manage the race and stay on the pavement.
Yeah, that seemed to be the one of the toughest things for the guys here tonight. Is especially, we've seen Diaz a couple times shoot it through turns 1 and 2 there, the chicane, and get alongside you. I'm sure you've seen that out the corner of your window at the very least. How scary was that? How much were you thinking, okay, maybe I got to pick up the pace here a little bit to stay ahead of him?
Yeah, the first one was real scary because I just came out of the pits and I really had no idea that he was that close. I knew he was coming, but I didn't know he was close enough to actually get alongside of me. And when it happened, I didn't realize that he blew the corner, and I was worried that I might have cut him off or something, but he let me by and we kept racing, and I pulled out a little bit of a lead on him, and then on that last lap I was trying to just kind of take it easy and stay just ahead of him, and again I didn't know I'd let him in that close, but it gave me a little bit of a scare when I saw him there that last time. But the last time I knew he was there, and so I wasn't quite as startled by it. But
Were you having a flashback of Watkins Glen, like don't let this happen again?
Yeah, because the second time I think I saw him go over the first curb, and I wasn't sure if he had lost control and if he was going to come through and hit me on the other side, so I checked up even more, and just one of those things. He's racing hard, trying to catch me at the end, and that's good racing, and I'm glad glad we didn't have contact and we were both able to finish. So
yeah, it's hard enough doing it in the dry conditions, and you guys happen to do it in the wet here tonight. So congrats on the win here tonight. Le Mans next week. How do you feel about heading out to the big old track over there in France?
I feel pretty good about it. I actually haven't been there in a while, so it'll be kind of refreshing to get back out there. I haven't driven it in the GT car ever, I don't think, so we'll see how that goes in the GT3, but it's a track I know pretty well, and I don't know if I'm necessarily fast there, but I should be able to put down good consistent times, and that should hopefully lead me to a pretty decent finish.
You get your wins where you can get them, and I'm sure you'll certainly take the win here tonight, maybe jump you up the points a little bit as well. But congratulations on your win here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to on that 40 team?
Yeah, shout out to my teammate Dan. He had a little bit of trouble today, but managed to bring the car home. And just shout out to the sponsor, 4D Racewear. Check out 4dracewear.com and the original racing gloves for your feet. And just shout out to my friends. My mom probably watched this race tonight, so just thank you to everybody, and thank you to you guys for doing the broadcast. It's a lot of fun to watch these after the race, so looking forward to seeing what it's like in the rain.
Yeah, it was interesting, and trust me, you can see a lot more from up here in the broadcast booth than I'm sure you guys could on the track. I mean, at least you had some clean laps there, for most of the part in the second half of the race, that you didn't have a big old spraying up behind you, and that's what your competitors are dealing with. But congrats again on the win. We'll let you go celebrate, and maybe we'll talk to you again after Le Mans.
Hey, let's hope so. Thank you a lot.
That is driver of the 40, Jim Herrick, your winner here tonight in the AM class. Now we'll switch gears and head over to the Pro class, and the first driver we'll bring in here is going to be the third place driver of the 997 here tonight. It's Peter Moeller. Joe, why don't you go ahead and take Peter?
Hey there, Peter. You got a copy?
Hey, gentlemen. How are you?
Oh, pretty good here. Talk us through what it is to race in the rain here at Monza.
A lot of focus. That was very tough. Very, very tough.
Yeah, we talked about in the pre-race how it was going to be the shortest 40 minutes for us up here in the booth because there was going to be so much to talk about, and for you guys, it was going to be probably the longest 40 minutes of your lives here. And just, I mean, not only are you fighting with the other guys on the track, but then the finding a line, trying to have a clear vision. How bad was the vision, you know, overall for you, and then just trying to find a line here that was fast?
There is only one line, and that's what makes it a challenge with the spray, because you can't see. So passing is very, very, very difficult to do it safely. Qualifying up front, like I did, was, you know, made all the difference.
Yeah, that's what Jason said. He wasn't really concerned about passing somebody. He was just gonna, if they went off track, then pass them, because he didn't really want to pass anybody because you just really couldn't. I mean, it was just so hard.
Lap one, turn one. As long as I made it through there, that was, and I couldn't see a damn thing. Truly, could not see a thing.
Yeah, we went back and watched several guys' view from the cockpit going into turn one, and it's just, I mean, all you can see is mist. I mean, you really have to just be laser focused and be very cautious, you know, tiptoeing through that first chicane there.
Kind of timing, you know, you have a sense of timing, but yeah, no, you couldn't see anything. So it was really all about turn one. It really was.
Well, you were able to come away with third here tonight. Anybody want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, once again to Core, all you guys, and to CSRL. Great bunch.
Yes, it is. All righty. Well, congrats on the third, and we'll let you get out of here.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
That is driver of the 997, third place here tonight in the pro class, Peter Moeller. Second place, and probably the most disappointed driver out there on the track right now, the 19 of Colin Winslow. Colin, you had this thing under wraps until you didn't. 2 laps to go. I mean, has the heartbeat come down? Has the breathing come down? Has the cursing subsided? To bring it into the booth here.
Yeah. No
Are we in the clear? Are we in the clear?
That's that. Yeah. You guys are worried about the way I was gonna respond. No. That's the way rain races go, man. It's like I'm taking the same line every time. I didn't touch the curb that time, and just a little bit too much throttle. And there I go. And the only thing I'm thinking now is I'm lucky enough to have been 22 seconds ahead of P3 to be able to take a broken car and still finish P2. So thankful for that. Luckily, you know, P1 to P2, I'm not losing a whole ton of points. So that's the only thing I'm thinking now, is just thankful I didn't get pushed back to like P6, P7.
Yeah, once you got that thing back going, it looked like it was crabbing a little bit. How was the handling in that final lap?
It was. But luckily with the rain, nobody's, you know, taking the turns at full speed, so it really didn't matter a whole lot over one lap. So lucky for that.
Absolutely.
Did it make it drive better?
Honestly, it could have. Give me a couple more laps, and
you should have done that earlier.
Now, you know, you've just been into the wall early and you're good to go. But, I mean, you were out there in the beginning. You're out there to about a 7.5 second lead. So, I mean, was it kind of laying back a little bit that allowed the rest of the competitors, especially Craig, to catch up to you, or was he just turning in some burning laps?
Yeah, I'll be honest, for a while, it was just I wasn't pushing. I didn't feel like I was pushing. I was just kind of in my zone, just driving the track the way I knew how to drive a wet track. There was one instance, and you guys might have saw it, where I came out of the pits and I was only 2.5 seconds ahead of Craig, and I got behind a lapped car, and was trying to go around him and hit some paint. And, you know, as you guys know, the paint in the wet is not where you want to be.
Yeah, no.
So that cost me a lot of time. So that's when Craig gained all that time on me. So after that, it was definitely a battle, and I was definitely pushing once I got out of the pits. And that's probably where the last lap incident came into play.
I know right now it's probably going to feel like a disappointing second place, but either way, it's a second place here in a rain race. Not exactly easy here tonight, so you got to feel proud at the end of the day to bring this thing home on the podium in second place.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, I'm just thankful that I was able to take it home in P2 after spinning like that, damaging my car. So luckily, I I was able to build up 25-second lead to P3 over the 35 minutes before that wreck. So.
Well, congratulations on the podium here tonight and a really great run. And it should be a lot of confidence going into the MON next week. But before we let you go, anybody you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Shout out to my grandfather and my dad if they're both watching. I sent them the link, so maybe they're watching tonight.
Absolutely. Welcome to the broadcast if you are, and hit that like and subscribe. Help us out and get in touch with everything that Colin's got going on out here. But congrats again on the second place, and hopefully next week you keep that thing straight and don't deal with the crab. And
yeah, hopefully. If there's no rain, I'm not too worried about it.
All right, we'll let you go and we'll see you at Le Mans.
All right, boys. Have a good night.
That is second place finisher here tonight, the 19 of Colin Winslow. Finally, we'll bring in the man of the hour, Joe. A nice, easy win here for Craig Jancic. Why don't you go ahead and talk to him?
Yeah, Craig, it's a smooth running there. It's kind of a tale of two races for you and Colin. You have the trouble early, and Colin has the trouble late. Talk us through that race there, Craig.
Yeah, Colin and I chatted. I feel for the guy. My gosh, I saw him do it, almost do it, 3 laps before that. And then he finally finished the job, unfortunately, a couple laps later. I hate it for him. He ran a great race. He got pole on me. I screwed up Parabolica, I don't know, 6-7 times over the first 8 laps, and really put me on a back foot. But was able to pick my way through the field. Thankfully, didn't have to make any passes because if I had to, I don't know where I would have, because the dry line here is 1.2 Lamborghini Huracans wide, and that wasn't going to work out for anybody. But just slowly but surely kept running good lap times throughout the middle section of the race. Had a good pit entry, good time on the in lap and out lap.
You gained 3 seconds on him. You cut the lead in half at that point when you made your pit stop. I mean, that was huge on cutting it just straight in half right there, and then was able to get to him there about a second. It was right at about a second there, and then that's like when he had his issue there. But do you think you could have got to him there? There was like 2 laps left. If he doesn't have his problem,
I'm gonna be honest. I was kind of points racing when I stalled out at 1.4 seconds back. With Ponzi, going through some stuff tonight and opting out of racing, as well as Frank Pisano not having a good run going. I just created a gigantic championship lead here, and I was going to be fine with second. But the only thing better than being fine with second is being fine with first. So what am I going to say?
Yeah, you're going to take it. So because exactly, you never know when it's going to take it away from you. For sure. And in Colin's situation, it's to run a almost flawless race, but one little mistake and that's wipes away a lead and wipes away a win. But what is a key here to racing, in the rain at Monza?
You got to know where the puddles are. You got to stay off the paint lines. And if the curb is flat, you can't touch it. The chicane curbs you can play with because of the way that it lifts the tire off the ground. You can pretty much swallow those just about normally, specifically in the first sector. And like I said earlier, there's the actual quote unquote dry line, the drier part of the track that's not having any standing water on it is truly about 1.2 cars wide. And, that ate up Jim's race, Jim Dutton, that ate up Peter's race as well. Granted, he's still got a third at least, but yeah, just such a challenging track, and a lot of us just did the 12 hours of Sebring a couple of weeks ago, which had a lot of wet in it, and it was nowhere near as hard as this, specifically for finding the line. And I don't know if that's a product of this being a fixed setup where we can't adjust traction control and brake bias versus the 12-hour, you were able to play with those things and hone them in a little bit better. But I'm really not sure. I just know that this was a challenge. It was fun, but it was a hell of a hard time, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, one last question I got for you is so about lap 12, we've seen half the field hit their fastest lap of the race at that point. Was that just maybe the track drying out, or is everybody getting some, like, the rubber laid down, some grip in it? Like, what do you think was involved with that?
Yeah, so I'm looking at my times, and my laps 8 through 12 were pretty much within about a 0.3 of a second window. And I think that makes sense. I think that there was a point where there was a little bit of lighter rain throughout the final sector, and even a few moments there was a little bit of sun in sector 1. But at that time, for all of us, we were losing the fuel load, so that would have been probably most of our purple laps, even in the dry. I happened to have a really, really good lap on my exit. The first lap, once I had a lot of fuel back in the rear, and I was able to put down my fastest lap of the race on lap 15 after my pit stop. And there was a little bit of tow. It was probably a little bit of tow involved for a lot of the field as well. That could have had an impact there too. That's an interesting observation that those laps were coming from most of the field at that point. I candidly wasn't paying attention to it, but I guess
the only reason I noticed it is because they all popped up green over there on my screen. I looked over and I'm like, that's an awful lot of greens and purple, which is the fastest lap of their race and the race. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. And then I was going to ask you or ask somebody about it and just remembered, but
yeah, good question. Good question. I wish that I fit the mold for it too, because then you look even better. But no, I mean you're right. I mean, lap 7 did an 0.31, and then lap 2 lap 8 I cut almost a whole second off that, and then sat in that bracket for a while. So you're definitely onto something there in that range.
Yeah. Well, anybody want to give a shout out to on that 3?
Yeah, massive shout out to you guys, Core Racing Network. Awesome stuff, yourself and Carl. Thank you for what you do. Thanks to all the fans out there that watch every week as well. Thanks to all the guys that showed up here for a wet and wild bonanza out in Italy. Thanks to all the guys that support me as well. Team Conti Sim Performance, Martin PC, Studio 3, Digital Sim Sports, Freebrand Hot Wings Morning Show. Really good stuff, and I wish I could say I'm looking forward to Le Mans. I know that's a real hater language. I can't stand that track for anything in me, but
I know a lot of people felt about Monza here tonight, whether it was rain or not.
yeah, that's how I feel about that too. I hate these 2 tracks, but I love the rest of the schedule. So good stuff after we get through this next week, and we'll be set up for a good run, hopefully at the championship. I know we did ourselves a lot of favors here tonight.
Yeah, you're gonna widen that gap probably pretty big after this win. With the Ponzi not showing up and then Pisano having his troubles here.
Yeah, that should be real helpful. So I'm excited about that, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season with you guys and with the competitors. So
all right, well you get it done here tonight, and we will see you next week.
Hell yeah! Hope you guys have a good night.
All right, you too.
Later.
As your winner here overall and in the pro class, the 3 of Craig Jancic. We'll take a look at the rundown now that it's finally up and ready to go here. For tonight's race in the pro class, it was Craig Jancic taking the win over Colin Winslow, Peter Moeller, AJ Roderick, Siviani Madrigal, your top 5, John Seamer, Dan Morera, Brandon DeLima, Brandon Powell, and Frank Bassano grabbing the top 10. And then 11 through 13 are going to be Jim Dutton, Stephen Price, and then Tim Ponzi, unfortunately, having some ankle issues and not being able to run out here tonight. Over in the AM class is going to be your winner. It comes up. There we go. Your winner, Jim Herrick, by a mere 1 second over Antonio Diaz. And very close again for your top 4 with Jason Potts just finishing 0.4 of a second back. Another 0.8 of a second back to Brandon Potts. Then you got Christian Torres rounding out your top 5. Randy Ayers, another disappointing race for the 66 as he had the pole and certainly had his multitude of issues, but finishing in 6th place here tonight. Jay Little in 7th, and then Brian Farron finishing in 8th place. Thank you again to Jim Herrick and 40 Racewear for their help and sponsorship for the guys over here at CSRL. Thank you to everyone that tuned in here tonight, and if you haven't done so yet, please hit that like and subscribe and get yourself tuned into everything that CRN has to offer, as we've got just a ton of racing. I know we have at least 4 broadcasts on Tuesday night. We got 2 or 3 of them here tonight on Wednesdays. We got some on Thursdays, Fridays. I mean, it's just, I can't say it enough. If you love racing, I don't know what the heck you're doing by not subscribing to the CRN, as we've got a ton of stuff here. But for myself here and Joe at the boys here at CSRL in Monza, we'll see you at the track.